man. We're off and running on the Krug Show. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is August the 5th, 9:12 p.m. West Coast. That means it's 12 minutes after midnight on the 6th of August, back east. Oh, I got this stuff down. I can go all night. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig It Up Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Pig and a Pickle, the title sponsor of the Krug Show. And we have a brand new sponsor, Kev. It is Mancini's Sleep World. What can you say? Mancini's Sleep World, one of the best mattress places you're ever going to find. 120-night guarantee, free next day delivery, a range of brands and price points, sleep experts through and through. I love my Mancini's bed. We got a brand new Mancini's bed this week delivered to the house, and I'm loving it. Super high profile, sleeping like a baby. Oh, just absolutely perfect. Cannot beat it. Cannot beat it. And if you want to support the show, you get 10% off if you are a Krug Show watcher, viewer, listener, all of the above. 10% off. All you got to do is type in Krug 10, Krug 10 at checkout at sleepworld.com.
Or in person.
Or in person. Of course, Labor Day sale begins coming up this week, and you got the 120-night guarantee, free next day delivery, excellent brands, and definitely fantastic prices. They are the sleep experts at Mancini Sleep World. So once again, if you're a Krug Show viewer and you type in Krug 10, Krug 10, you get 10% off at checkout at sleepworld.com. And thanks to Mancini Sleep World for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Kev, good to see you, man. What's going on? What a lot going on in Ninerland, huh? My goodness. Aiyuk coming, going. We got a lot to talk about. Is he going to the Patriots? Is he going to the Steelers? Are the Steelers bluffing? Is there going to be a team in the 11th hour? Are the Niners going to get hosed in a bad trade? Based on what the names I'm hearing, it sounds really, really, really bad. But I'll hold off and not say the sky's falling until the sky actually falls. What's the latest and greatest, Kev? What are you hearing?
Well, it's just been a crazy day. I'm just going to start with that. Probably the most refreshes on my Twitter page in the history of my Twitter. I've never refreshed my Twitter page this many times.
What is the history of Kev's Twitter? I mean, how many years does the Twitter go back?
I think I've had my account for a lot of years, but I only started using it like last year, maybe.
Okay, so this is the most significant thing in about a year.
For me, yeah. I mean, obviously there was the Trey Lance stuff, but that was kind of trickling out throughout this summer, and then it just kind of randomly dropped on a game day last preseason. This has been crazy. I mean, it's like conflicting reports. There's someone announcing that he was traded. Then you have people saying he hasn't been traded, but he probably will. Then people saying, oh, actually, he's not going to get traded. He's actually more likely to sign. And now we're hearing that the team that he initially was supposedly traded to is out, and we're moving on to two other teams. I mean, it's a crazy day, but I'm here to break it all down.
Well, and people get so into, I love covering sports, but I don't know if I love covering sports coverage. And that's a lot of the comments are about coverage. Joel Meyer says, was watching Lombardi's stream and it just ended and it disappeared from my YouTube history. Question? Kind of odd. Kev, what happened there?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a you problem. It's probably the stream probably ended midway through and it just refreshed.
We got this one from Mike Nichols. He says, my opinion, Grant and Ryan looked bad earlier. They really believe that Steelers report. Okay, and Mike, I get that. But and I was sitting right there, right here in my studio, ready to go live, and I was going to do the same damn thing that Ryan and Grant did. And we just, as we kind of paused for a second, there seemed to be reason to believe that wasn't a legit report, and so we just kept we actually put off going live.
We were about to go live.
We were about to go live.
And
then we got into an argument, and I got pissed at Kev, and then we decided not to go live.
But it was mainly because we were skeptical because people started.
There was some pressure in the war room today.
Yeah.
Here at the Krug Show. There was some Krug Show war room pressure today.
But
seriously, how you handle
was the initial report right here. This was the initial report. Breaking: the Steelers and 49ers have agreed to a trade that sends star receiver Brandon Aiyuk to Pittsburgh. That's the initial report.
And we've quoted Cam Marino before. Okay.
Mayoko tweeted him in an earlier tweet by Cam Marino. Mayoko actually quoted this guy on his earlier report that was saying, where is it? It's right here. Yeah, the scoop that the Patriots and the Browns are the front runners in a trade discussion. This is what Mayoko wrote his piece about the next morning.
Right. So for Grant and Ryan to react to that report and be like, hey, we're going live and this is happening. To me, I mean, yeah, you could say they got duped or whatever, but you know what? That would have duped me. I mean, I think Cam Marino was a legitimate enough, person. Now we didn't go with it, but we didn't go with it just because as we waited and paused for a few minutes, it seemed like, I don't know what happened, Kev. There was something that came out as well that made us think, let's wait. Right. Didn't we get to that point where we just kind of said, let's wait?
Yeah, I mean, basically what came out was, I think it was Andrew Schultz or something. Jordan Schultz came out and said that there had been talks, but there hadn't been a trade that's been accepted yet. But why don't we go right into why we're doing this live stream? Let's get into this. Because
why are we doing the live stream, Kev?
We're doing the live stream because
what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
We're doing it because Matt Mayoko tweeted this out, which has gained over 3 million impressions in the last hour.
Are you serious?
I mean, because the Patriots, you got to remember, the Patriots community is massive. I mean, you have that whole place is backed by Bill Simmons, and Bill Simmons already retweeted this. So, I mean, this is the tweet. Breaking: the 49ers have the framework of a Brandon Aiyuk trade with both the Browns and the Patriots, a source told Matt Mayoko. It's now up to Aiyuk to decide if he will accept either team's contract terms. So, according to Mayoko, they have the terms. They've accepted the terms. It's up to Brandon Aiyuk to make the decision.
And let's go beyond that, because isn't there specifics in that Mayoko article where he kind of says if it's New England, it's going to be Kendrick Bourne and picks, and if it's Cleveland, it's going to be Amari Cooper and picks? Isn't that in? I could have swore that was in the back end of that piece.
Yes, it says the Browns would be in a position to add Aiyuk if wide receiver Amari Cooper were sent to the 49ers as part of a trade. Mary Kay Cabot or Cabot of Cleveland.com reported. The Patriots are expected to include former wide receiver Kendrick Bourne as a part of the deal if Aiyuk were accepted to New England's offer.
All right, let's talk about those two for a second. Kendrick Bourne for Aiyuk makes me want to puke. I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest about that. I like Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne tore his ACL last year. He's older. He was an undrafted free agent to begin with. He's nothing close to Aiyuk. And the Patriots are not giving you their first round pick.
I would rather have Juwan Jennings than Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne,
level. Yeah.
I'm not convinced that Kendrick Bourne without help makes this roster. He's going to beat out Danny Gray and beat out Ronnie Bell and beat out Conley. He's going to beat out all these guys. I don't know. He probably makes it, but he's hard. Going from Aiyuk to Kendrick Bourne coming off the ACL is a real downgrade. I mean, all
if you told me the Niners signed Kendrick Bourne for an $8 million deal, I would say that's a good deal. That's a guy. He's coming off an injury. Maybe he can prove himself. To trade him for Brandon Aiyuk, it doesn't feel right. But the only thing you got to remember is that if the Patriots are offering a second round pick,
it's like
that's like 36. That's pick number 36.
That's could be 33. Could be 33. Yeah. No, I know. I mean, that's why they can't trade the first round pick. But I mean, I guess if you can get the Pats second round pick, but that's lousy. you're going to trade Brandon Aiyuk on August 5th for Kendrick Bourne. I mean, forget the pick for a second because you're not realizing the pick until April of 2025. I'm not even talking about April of 2025 for quite a while yet. I mean, that's like, you're going to get this awesome Christmas present and like on December 23rd, your awesome Christmas present gets turned into like a gift card. Now you're getting a gift card. It's like, that's not good. I mean, the season's about to start. The fans want to see Brandon Aiyuk, and you're going to replace him with Kendrick Bourne and try to sell that. Forget me, in my opinion. Niner fans are going to rise up and crush. So if that's the deal, I would God hope that they don't do it, because Niner fans will absolutely destroy John Lynch if he traded for Kendrick Bourne, a second-round pick, because they're not getting the second-round pick till next year. So this year, it's Aiyuk for Kendrick Bourne off an ACL.
It's not the greatest. Yeah,
no,
it's definitely not the greatest. It's hard to sell.
You gotta come on, seriously. Give me Christian Gonzalez. He's a good young player. Give me. Even if
Matthew Judon,
I'll take Judon. I want DeMar. If I'm getting a receiver, I want Demario Douglas. I watch football. I know who's good. Okay, I know who's good. I know who's going to be good. I know who used to be good. And Demario Douglas has a future. Kendrick Bourne has a past. I don't need a guy with a past. I need a guy with a future. If I'm trading Brandon Aiyuk, a 26-year-old all-pro wide receiver, you are sure as hell coughing up Demario Douglas. Okay? I mean, that's the first and foremost. I mean, I don't know what else. To me, Demario Douglas, Matt Judon, and a third-round pick would probably be fair. That would probably be fair from the Patriots. But that's probably not it. And if it really is Kendrick Bourne in a second, I'm going to be because that hurts the Niners' chances of winning the Super Bowl this year. Because Kendrick Bourne is nothing close to Brandon Aiyuk, and I don't care who's going to tell you otherwise and what their title is. I've done enough personnel to tell you that 26-year-old Brandon Aiyuk is considerably better than 30-year-old Kendrick Bourne coming off an ACL injury. And then you mix in the fact that they just signed Bourne to a 3-year deal, makes me kind of wonder if the Patriots would even, if he's even a fit here. I know that name has been out there, but since they just signed him to an extension, don't they take a big cap hit by moving him right away? I believe they do. So to me, I'm not sure if Bourne even makes sense. To me, the names that make more sense would be Christian Gonzalez, good young corner, Jabril Peppers, a very good free safety, the pass rusher you just mentioned. What's his name again?
Matthew Judon.
Judon, the former Raven, Matt Judon, who's a very good pass rusher, a little long in the tooth, but they could use him. That's what makes sense. Maybe an offensive lineman, but not a receiver that I saw would be borderline to. I don't even know if Kendrick Bourne would start on the Niners.
I don't think he would. I saw that Silver actually tweeted out that he thinks that Shanahan would prefer the Bourne trade and the second-round pick over the Cooper trade from the Browns and their second.
Because the Cooper pick is the second-round pick, and the Browns pick could be in the 20s, and the Patriots pick is going to be 30. The second pick in the draft, second pick in the second round. I hear you, but then you're taking Kendrick Bourne for Brandon Aiyuk. Kyle, come on, seriously, come on, shake yourself, wake yourself. That's like on the
Browns side of things, though.
Do we have to review Kendrick Bourne's football card and go through a raking of Kendrick Bourne to make this point? I mean, do we seriously have to bust out his card and take a look at what he's done and explain why trading him straight up for Brandon Aiyuk and a pick is going to make the fans kind of go, I don't know if I like that. And then I think there's going to be some fans who might be like, I don't know if I endorse that. That's the thing. Let's see. What did Bourne? Okay, so Bourne last year played in 8 games, 37 receptions, 55 targets, 406 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's what he did this last year. And he's 29. When I say he's 30, he's 29. But I mean, he was he's on PUP right now. 8th year, Eastern Washington. Probably already played his best football. I mean, he's somewhat dependable, kind of clutch, kind of plays big in some big moments as a younger player, but now he's coming off an ACL, didn't have a step to lose, probably has lost a step and a half. You know, by the way, I think the Patriots might have Jalen Hurd. I'm looking at their wide receiver core. They got Kendrick Bourne, Javon Baker, Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, Jalen Hurd, KJ Osborne, Jalen Polk, Jalen Rager. Man, they got a lot of Jalens. Look at this. They got a Javon, a Jalen, a Jaquay, a Jalen with a different spelling, a Jalen, and a Juju. Anyway, the wide receiver room has got, some real. I mean, this is one of the worst wide receiver cores in all of football. Demario Douglas is the guy, if you're the 49ers, that you want coming back. That's the guy that's actually proven it. The kid from Liberty, he's only 5'8", about 195 pounds. But if you're going to take a receiver back from New England, and you're going to trade them Brandon Aiyuk, I want that kid. I want Demario Douglas, who's 23, who caught 49 balls last year, who's really quick, and he can stop and start and move, and you can play him in the slot. He's dangerous. He's got a big-time future. That's the receiver I'd want. I would not want Kendrick Bourne, basically approaching 30, coming off of an ACL injury. So, and he's opening the camp on the PUP. So obviously he's not 100% physically. So you don't even know. I mean, you're really going to trade Brandon Aiyuk for a receiver that you don't even know about his health. I mean,
now this is another update. This is per NFL Notify. The Patriots are offering more money than the Browns, but the Browns are offering a better chance to win. So that's what Aiyuk's apparently mulling over.
So the Patriots are offering the most in contract,
right? And
the Browns are offering less in a contract, but the Browns have a defense, and the Browns also have other receivers, and they've got Deshaun Watson, and yeah. I mean, now let's be honest. Are the Browns are in maybe the toughest division in the game, and they're probably not going to win it. The Ravens are better than them. The Bengals are better than them. The Steelers are a much better organization than them. They got it done last year with Flacco. I don't even know what Deshaun Watson is. For Brandon Aiyuk to demand out of the Niners and Purdy to go to Deshaun Watson and the Browns, I mean, talk about a roll of the dice. I mean, that is a dice roll in your career, is it not?
I mean, I don't like any of his options here. I mean, the fact that he's preferring Pittsburgh over all these teams, why does that make sense? Because you like Mike Tomlin? I mean, everyone
he's giving Pittsburgh a discount, but he went on the podcast.
I can't remember I can't remember
said
the last
that the
time
Niners won't get a hometown discount. So the Niners, who just were in the freaking Super Bowl, don't get a hometown discount with all the talent they have, and they're your original team. But the Steelers, who haven't won a playoff game in 5 years, he gets a hometown discount. It's not your hometown. How did the Steelers get a hometown discount?
That was the Filipponi guy that he said that. I'm not sure if that's actually true. But I mean, I just don't remember the last time the Steelers were a wide receiver friendly team before they had Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, they had Ben Roethlisberger and they were a good wide receiver team, but since then it's been a fucking train wreck. So I don't see, who's throwing the ball to him? Russell Wilson or Justin Fields? Those aren't the most wide receiver friendly quarterbacks. So the fact that he wants to go there so bad, you could only point the finger at Mike Tomlin. So that's what I'm thinking. I do want to put my tin hat on for a second because I
wonder if Tomlin tampered. Because you have Aiyuk literally tweeting at him.
I mean, is that
kind of wonder about that
tampering, or is that Aiyuk? And also,
well, no, I'm just saying. I wonder what led to Aiyuk to communicate with Tomlin. I don't know about that one. That was kind of an interesting little development.
I'm not sure if
the
the tampering
you don't see that. No, I know, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. When was the last time you saw an NFL player tweet at the head coach of a team that wasn't his team?
I know. I mean, this whole
I
offseason
mean,
has
it
been a
was
bunch of random things. Just going
so
back
okay.
to
Go
going
ahead.
back to the Mayoko thing for a second.
Okay.
I actually have a different take on this that I haven't said yet. When I saw this, I'm about again. When I saw this, it made me just considering the source. It's Mayoko, and love Mayoko. He's a great guy, but his sources, if I had to make a guess, are most likely team sources. Right? He covers the beat for the team for the last 30 years. He's gonna have team sources. My guess is that the Niners know Aiyuk is not going to accept the deal unless it's the Steelers. So they probably told Mayoko, we have trades lined up with these two teams. I think this puts a little bit more pressure on the Steelers who want to get this deal done to sweeten up their offer so that the Niners
So
accept it
you're
and
saying the
they can trade
Steelers,
it.
the report that the Steelers are out is erroneous. That they're not really out.
Yeah.
That they're just that's a way to say that their offer is not as good.
Right. I think the Niners don't like their offer. I think that the Steelers think they have some kind of leverage because Brandon Aiyuk wants to go there. And this whole situation is so interesting. He obviously doesn't want to go to the Browns or the Patriots, and he has the ability to basically say, I'm not signing that long-term extension there. So he has like a no trade clause. So they're putting this out saying, hey, we have the framework done with these two teams. It's up to Brandon Aiyuk, and they're leaving the Steelers out of it. So all of the Steelers fans are freaking out. It's time for the Steelers to land their last offer or something's going to happen, right?
Steeler fans are ridiculously crazy. I watched a podcast the other day, some Steeler duo, and the guy's like, yeah, they're going to either get him for DeMonte KZ, their backup offensive tackle, Johnson, or, their fourth string. So, I mean, you're talking about an all-pro wide receiver for just pure backups. I mean, it's like, take another puff.
The trades are always like ridiculous.
Here we go out to New England for this guy. Look at this guy. We got Joey Harrow in the chat. And I know this Joey Harrow. And he says born in a second rounder's a lot different than Gonzalez, Douglas, and Picks. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't want born in a second rounder. We want Gonzalez, Douglas, and a I would want Gonzalez and Douglas, just period. That's what I would want. I don't even want Picks. Forget your Picks.
I would want Gonzalez. I mean, I don't think they're going to
straight up.
I mean, not Gonzalez in a pick.
He only played like 5 games and they got hurt.
He's really
Joey knows. He was glass last year.
But I've read some of the reports coming out of there. They love that guy. They love that guy.
No, I know.
He's looking really good.
Yeah, he was rated really high on the list of the best corners in the league, despite the fact he only played in a handful of games as a rookie. But yeah, I mean, what is Brandon Aiyuk? He's a great freaking young football player who's 26. If I'm trading a great freaking young football player who's 26, I don't care if I got cap problems or not. I'm getting a great young football player in return, or I'm not doing it. I mean, I'd rather quit. If I'm John Lynch, I'd rather quit and go back to TV than make bad trades for financial reasons. You have a great young football player. People are not going to remember the cap situation down the road. They're only going to remember what you traded and what you got. So this cap, they were under cap, this, and no one's going to remember that. They're just going to remember that you traded Brandon Aiyuk at 26 for Kendrick Bourne. That just cannot happen.
There's no way that's happening.
That would just be so ridiculous. I mean, Elliott Wolf would go from like being like 5'5" to like 6'5" in one day. I mean, that would be ridiculous. Kendrick Bourne and a second round pick for 26-year-old all-pro Brandon Aiyuk, who's about to play his best football. I mean, come on. Seriously. I mean,
I just want to point this out because this is actually like I think he's agreeing with me, but this is the Pretty Ricky guy who's been on it about this whole thing. This Michael Beck guy tweeted out, "This is what I believe. Aiyuk wants to come to the Steelers. Steelers have a weak trade offer to SF, but we'll do the contract. Aiyuk won't accept a trade to Cleveland, New England. SF desperate to get over the drama, but Steelers want to offer more, leaking the stories for a better deal." And then Ricky said, "Yes, this is exactly on point."
So read that again, because not everybody can see that.
Okay,
Can
so
you make that big?
basically that. Oh, do you want to make it bigger?
Can you make it bigger?
I can. Is this big enough?
Yeah, there we go. So Aiyuk wants to come to the Steelers. Steelers have a weak trade offer to the Niners, but will do the contract. Aiyuk won't accept a trade to Cleveland or New England. The Niners are desperate to get over this drama, but want the Steelers to offer more and leaking stories for a better deal. Leaking stories? Where's the story?
The
Saying
Mayoko
that
story.
that the Steelers are out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, basically I mean, first of all, when you're getting the Mayoko take, you're getting the Niner take, right? You're not getting a Steeler take. He covers the 49ers. So if anybody's gonna if he's spinning it from either side, he's spinning it from the Niners. He's close to the Niners. So they're basically saying by Mayoko saying that the Steelers are out, that they're not really out, as you said, Kev, or as you suspect, that it's just a way to basically say, in our eyes, they're out because their offer doesn't compete. But obviously, the Steelers very, very much still want Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, and this is no slight at Mayoko. He's doing great reporting here.
Sure.
He's obviously he's hearing from his sources, but I think he was the same guy earlier in the offseason that after one of their meetings had said the talks went, or someone has there was a report after one of their meetings saying, oh, the report went well, or the meeting went well. The meeting between the 49ers and Aiyuk went well. And it's just like everyone took that and was like, look, the meeting went well. Everything's great. But it's like, you got to remember.
Well?
Yeah, what's well and who are you hearing it from? Because if you're hearing it from the team, if the team's telling you it went well, then it's not, they're just going to say that. Like, I don't know. You just got to consider the source here. And if it's Mayoko, I'm thinking it's coming from the team. So the team wants to play this. They want to send him to the Steelers because that's where he'll accept the long-term deal, but they got to get a better deal.
Right. Okay. So if the Patriot offer is Kendrick Bourne and their second round pick, because there's no chance it's their first, that's a very high second round pick. And I know that the 49ers are probably thinking about the potential for getting that replacement tackle for Trent Williams. So they're thinking, well, maybe we get a high second round pick and we get a late first round pick and we combine those two and we get up to 18 and we get an offensive tackle maybe. So that's kind of what they're thinking, right? They're thinking down the road. As far as, just 1 year and like what potentially next year's draft could look like. The Cleveland deal, it's funny. Wolfie here says Amari, Dawan Jones for Aiyuk, Elijah Mitchell, make it happen. The Niners, by the way, did make a significant addition today. They added Matt Breida to a running back room that already was oddly deep.
Yeah.
Now I know Garendo's got a hamstring, but so what? Your running back room is already, as I said, incredibly deep, and you just added another player and a good player at that in Matt Breida. So
now that makes me wonder. That makes me wonder one thing. That makes me wonder if they're trying to integrate a second running back into the starting offense, not so that they release some of the workload on CMC. So in a sense, they're going to not play that running back. So they need more backs for the preseason. Does that make sense?
Well, there's that too. Right. So you're saying Breida's just a throwaway carries on Breida, and then
I don't know though, because Breida's better than that. I don't know if he's a throwaway back at this point. Is he a throwaway back at this point in his career? I know he's on the Giants and didn't really do much, but
no, he may have lost a step, but he still has really good speed. I mean, it's an interesting addition. I mean, especially since he knows the offense and he's kind of a proven guy within it. JP Mason has looked amazing. I talked to Bobby T today, and I asked him about a couple of his backs, and he really likes Schrader. And, Schrader's looking really, really good. So, Schrader's good. And obviously, CMC is a borderline MVP. And then you got JP Mason, who looks like he might be running back too. And then you got Garendo, who's got 4.33 speed at 230 pounds or whatever he is. Bobby T says he's a running back, looks like a fullback, was a receiver in high school. So, I mean, they're stacked in the backfield. So it does make you wonder. It does make you wonder if a deal is coming. Look at this one, Kev. fact says Wikipedia had Aiyuk as a Patriot. Not just people can just do that, right?
Yeah, that's just like someone edited it and said, like, I don't think I don't think Wikipedia has sources. I don't think they got boots on the ground in Pittsburgh, like figuring, or in New England figuring that out. I did see this from Tim Kawakami. He has an interesting perspective on this. He said abject failure. Let me see. Let me pull this up.
What's an abject failure?
Read this.
I said it.
I can read it. I said, I said it on this episode and might not get to write it in a column before the trade happens, so I'll say it here. If the 49ers trade Brandon Aiyuk for 75 cents on the dollar, it's a failure of their entire negotiation process. Abject failure.
It's harsh, but it's true.
I think it's true.
This is a foundation piece. This is your franchise quarterback's number one offensive weapon. This is his best receiver. You're trading his best receiver. This guy, Purdy, loves to throw in-breaking routes. You got a guy in Aiyuk that runs across the middle of the field like he freaking owns it. And you're going to trade him away for Kendrick Bourne? No, come on. Come on. And Amari Cooper's already played his best football. So, you want Brandon Aiyuk, who hasn't played his best football, or Amari Cooper, who has played his best football? And Amari Cooper's a free agent at the end of the year. So what's that? You know, I mean, and don't tell me nothing. What's really going to disgust me is if the Niners make us trade with the Browns, and then all these Niners sycophant people decide that they want to suck up to the Niners and are just like, well, it doesn't matter that Amari Cooper is an older receiver, and it doesn't matter that Amari Cooper is a free agent at the end of the year. All the 49ers really care about is this year. That's a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, this is the tipping point of all things 49ers. It's like, where do you stand on this issue? Because you got a guy who everyone knows his value. They know it. You know he's one of the most efficient, if not the most efficient, wide receiver in the entire NFL. But he's not the best player on this team. And you have to pay Brock Purdy $65 million next year. So we had been saying this entire offseason, there's a chance they move him. Even though people said, shut the fuck up, don't say that. They're not going to move him. Even
they're not moving him, Krug.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times I've done that? Krug, will you stop talking about the Aiyuk trade? They're not moving Aiyuk. And I said, you know what? The trade possibility of Brandon Aiyuk is incredibly viable. And I've said that since the start. And I got a bunch of people are just like, dude, I don't want to hear it. And I get it. We were all we're all tired and fatigued. We have Aiyuk fatigue, but don't crush the messenger just simply because you're a Niner fan. You like rooting for Aiyuk, and you didn't like the message that the Niners were entertaining the idea of trading him, because there were multiple indications of exactly that. And I'm not doing my job here if I don't at least tell you what I see.
Yeah. And I put out a tweet way earlier in the offseason, before this was even a thing, saying, look, the Niners are already spending at the league highest rate for their receiving core, including tight ends. Like, it was either first or second. It might have changed since the extensions, but still, are they about to extend Brandon Aiyuk and above that level, and they're going to pay Brock Purdy next year? And then I had reputable people coming at me saying, well, actually, they'd save money because if they extend him, his cap number goes down. It's like, yeah, no shit, his cap number goes down, but they still have to pay. No matter what the number says, you're going to pay that number. Whatever the guaranteed number is, it doesn't matter how it gets stretched out. Like, the money is going to be paid. I get the salary cap goes up every single year, but the money's going to be paid, and you're going to pay Brock Purdy throughout this entire contract and extend it even longer. So people now are realizing it, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what people think of this trade if it goes down.
Okay, so let's go through it for a second. For New England, if it really was Kendrick Bourne, and I'll say, you know, there's no way it's a first round pick, but let's say it's Kendrick Bourne in their second round pick. You are getting a possibility to parlay your pick and that pick to get that tackle to replace Trent Williams in a year. So in that scenario, you're positioned well, but you've just lost Brandon Aiyuk for Kendrick Bourne. And are you telling me that the 49ers got by Detroit and Green Bay and the teams they got by easily? Like they didn't need Brandon Aiyuk, that he was just excess, that you could take out Brandon Aiyuk and substitute Kendrick Bourne, and they're still coming from behind against Detroit and Green Bay? You're full of it. They're not. They're not nearly as good if you take away Aiyuk and replace him with Kendrick Bourne. So I do not love the New England idea, if that is the idea. And the other thing, it's like, I'm so sick of all these, everybody's comfortable with everybody. You know what? Maybe it's better for these guys to be a little uncomfortable instead of comfortable. You know, do we really need Kyle to feel comfortable with Kendrick Bourne? I mean, he was comfortable with Dante Pettis. He was comfortable with Jalen Hurd. He was comfortable with, with CJ Beathard. Let's just call it for what it is. Kyle Shanahan is a great play caller. He's got a phenomenal offense. He's as good an offensive strategist, play caller, sequencer, game caller, mismatch guy, play action guy as any offensive mind in the league. It doesn't mean he knows player personnel. And if there's anything, we've kind of seen that he's missed an awful lot. And most of the Niners misses were offensive players that Kyle wanted the 49ers to trade up to get. So sorry if I'm not like jumping over, boxes to get to Kendrick Bourne because Kyle feels comfortable with him. How about this? Coach the team and let us handle the personnel. If I was John Lynch, I think I might be saying that. And I think if I was Jed York, I might be backing that, you know what, Kyle, you're a great coach. Let's let John do the personnel. And how about you just coach the team? And please don't take it as an insult. Everybody's got different skill sets, right? And Kyle's skill set is amazing, but I don't think he's a proven personnel evaluator. And the idea that you want to move Brandon Aiyuk and be happy with Kendrick Bourne only makes me question those personnel evaluation skills that much more. So I don't love the Patriots idea. And I don't think that if you're Aiyuk, that is true Siberia. That is Siberia. They're not never going to win again there. But I would say with, Belichick out of there, Brady out of there, Drake May in there, the lack of weapons that they possess, where they are as a franchise, where Kraft is in his life, I bet you the Patriots, they go on a little bit of a down cycle here. My guess is 5 to 7 years without the playoffs. So literally, if you're Brandon Aiyuk and you get the big bag, spend it wisely because you are in NFL Siberia. You will never win a championship, and you probably will never play again in a playoff game. That's most likely what you're looking at. You're in a division with the Jets and the Bills and the Dolphins. Come on, you're not winning that division anytime soon. You're in a conference as loaded as the AFC is. You're not going to be the wild card. If the Pats make the playoffs more than once in the next decade, I'd be shocked. So if he really wants to go to the Pats, I mean, that's just ending the career.
And I think that's pretty apparent that he doesn't. I think it's pretty much a done deal. That's the wrong. Let me not use that terminology, especially right now. I'm pretty sure it's absolutely certain that Brandon Aiyuk is not going to the Patriots in the sense that he is not going to extend with the Patriots, which means that there's no trade on the table. The Browns, I could see him being, I feel like he could be persuaded with the Browns. I feel like the Browns they offer a defense. Deshaun Watson used to be a great quarterback. One other thing, just going back to the summer,
where would Kendrick Bourne rank? I'm sorry to interrupt. Where would Kendrick Bourne rank?
I mean,
on the Niner wide receiver core. Aiyuk is in front of him. Debo's in front of him. Jennings is in front of him. Pearsall's in front of him. Cowing's in front of him. Ronnie Bell, I think, is in front of him.
No.
Chris Conley is probably right there with him. Danny Gray's way faster. Trent Taylor's probably behind him. I mean, he's probably like 7th or 8th on the depth chart, and then most teams keep like 5 or 6.
He's better than Ronnie Bell. He might be better than Chris
Ronnie
Conley.
Bell had a 100-yard day in the preseason. When was the last time Kendrick Bourne had a 100-yard day? Let me look at that.
Kendrick Bourne has had multiple 100-yard days in the NFL. I mean, Ronnie Bell might not make this team.
He didn't have one this year, though.
Kendrick Bourne is better than Ronnie Bell. I mean, that's just what are we talking about? I mean, unless his ACL is absolutely destroyed, Bourne is.
He's
Bourne
coming
is,
off an ACL.
I know, but I'm just saying. I mean, Ronnie Bell is a 6th-round rookie who hasn't really proven anything.
I hear you. But that was 2023. No 100-yard days for Bourne. Let's go back to 2022. He had one against Cincinnati. So he's had one 200-yard day in the last 2 years.
I mean, the guy's caught multiple touchdowns for several years. Ronnie Bell hasn't done anything. Ronnie Bell
100-yard day in 2021. I mean, I think Kendrick Bourne may have like 200-yard days in his career.
Honestly, just forget the Kendrick Bourne deal. I mean, that's the worst deal, and I feel like you're just focusing on that.
Because I really think Kyle would rather have. I could see their thinking. We want that high 2nd-round pick. Patriots are going to be bad. Yeah, we know Kendrick. Yeah, we like Kendrick. Kendrick's a good. I know Kendrick. So what? He's had 200-yard days in his life.
Let's read some supers because I don't want them to back up too far. And these people have been waiting for 40 minutes. So
Gabriel C. Aiyuk to the Patriots would be interesting knowing that they face each other in week 4.
That would be popcorn. That would make a non-exciting matchup pretty exciting.
That would be good. Give me Demario Douglas. We'll make it happen. Flav's in the house. He says 49ers want Aiyuk to play on his 5th-year option. By trying to trade him, they tell him they aren't holding him hostage. If Aiyuk turns down a trade to a team, they are golden. It's then his choice to stay. Yeah, I disagree, Flav. I think the 5th-year option is bye-bye. I think he stays at their highest offer.
The cat's out of the bag.
The 5th-year option is done.
I don't see how anything gets like. Are you telling me he's going to show up tomorrow and be like, guys, I'm signing for 26 mil. I'm going to practice. He'd be like, what the fuck? Just like, what was this off season? Like that.
At least he's got financial security long term. How would you like to drag everybody through this song and dance and come back with, well, we're just putting it off a year and I'm on the 5th-year option. And that was all for nothing.
That just can't happen. It just can't happen. That's what I'm saying. It can't happen. I mean, maybe he'll sign, but I can't see him. There's no way they're just like walking this back. Like the whole world is watching right now. It's a nightmare. It's a PR nightmare.
Tobin Ernst drops $1.99 just saying peace. Look at this. Look who's in the green room. Our guy. Anthony Catania. Who knows that name, Anthony Catania? If you can tell us the relevance of the name Anthony Catania in our chat, who will be the first person who knows the relevance of Anthony Catania? Let's go to the new comments here. How well do you know the Krug Show? How well do you know
the Krug Show trivia?
The Krug Show trivia. Anthony Catania.
Sponsor. That's what someone said.
Ding, 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 ding. Look at that. Look at that.
Yo, Stricken
in the house. Anthony Catania. He says, sharp corners in the house. Aiyuk for Devontae Adams. Let's go get number 6. Sharp corners, sports cards, and collectibles.
That's not
Call my good friend Anthony Catania. They're out in front of the store first Friday of every month throughout the warmest summer months, May, June, July, August, September, maybe even into October. Go check them out for all your sports cards and collectible needs there in Pacific Grove, California on the Monterey Peninsula. The great Anthony Catania. Flav's in the house. Again, he says Kendrick Bourne and a 2nd rounder is like getting a gift card on Christmas that says this is good for a gift card next Christmas. We need an upgrade or different position. Yeah, thank you. Flav.
It's good for next Christmas. That's funny.
Seriously. Kendrick Bourne in the 2nd rounder is a gift card on Christmas that says this is good for a gift that you can't get until next Christmas. That is so spot on.
I mean, that doesn't even encapsulate the fact that the Niners need to win the Super Bowl this year. So I don't even know how you'd explain that in like a Christmas metaphor, but yeah, I mean, that doesn't even explain it to the full extent. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
You know, I'm climbing to the top of the Himalayas, but I've got this awesome tent. I'm going this year, but I'm picking up the tent next year. Do you see a problem with that at all? Do you see a problem with that? Going mountain biking, but I have a trike. Do you see a problem?
My mountain bike next year.
I'm getting a new mountain bike, but not until next year. But I'm going on my mountain bike ride this year. We got this one from Dane D.
Says, you skipped this one.
Did I? Yeah. Yaz Williams, Kyle, but he knows my system. Oh my God. Larry Krueger has suddenly lost control in the media room.
I think that the deal has to get announced soon-ish. But also remember, Kyle Shanahan speaks tomorrow morning. So
I'll be there.
Yeah, and you'll be there. So, I mean, he's going to get a firestorm of questions. There's no way that they're just going to ask one question. He's like, no update. I mean, there's going to be like a couple other follow.
There'll be an announcement at like 4 a.m. 5:15. Right? Something like that. Before Kyle talks, or maybe right after, so we won't have to answer any questions, especially if it's unpopular. Could you imagine they had this big media sit down? We sit down, we ask a million questions. We all walk into the side room and they trade Brandon Aiyuk for Kendrick Bourne and like a 5th-round pick, and we don't get a chance to talk to Kyle about it. How come nobody asked him about it? Well, actually, but he does know my system. Dane D. Krugs, is the trade going to break live during the live stream? I think so. Dane D. Kev, is there anything breaking?
He's asking you if it will. Nothing has broken yet. I've been refreshing.
You've been refreshing.
I've been refreshing. Yeah.
You got to stay refreshed. It's a warm night.
Yes, I am.
49er Talk Show says if the 49ers traded Bourne to the 49ers for Aiyuk, that will be the worst trade in history. 49er fans won't be happy with this. Yes. I concur. I mean, what else can you say? This is why it must suck to be a GM, because John Lynch is not a fool. He knows that if he makes a bad trade, people are going to rip. You know what I'm saying? Nobody rips you when you pay too much or cut somebody because of salary cap reasons. We couldn't afford him. They sign Aiyuk, and next spring they cut Banks and Demo Lenore and Mooney Ward. Nobody sits there and goes, John Lynch blew it. But if he trades Aiyuk today for picks and then re-signs Lenore, Ward, and Banks after another season that's short of the Super Bowl, is he ahead? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to get that ring. And who helps you get the ring? Do you beat Kansas City without Aiyuk? Really? Do you beat Detroit with no Aiyuk? I like Ricky Pearsall. Does Ricky Pearsall look like he's ready to replace Brandon Aiyuk? I feel like I know a little bit about football. To me, I would say no. He does not. We got this one. Lucian LeChance, the 4th. 49ers don't have to wait until April to use any draft picks they receive for BA. They can use them in another trade before the trade deadline.
I guess, but I mean, that's like a wish.
Really.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to get picks, and then we're going to take our picks, and we're going to get a team to take our picks for a player that they give us in October or November if we're still good, playoff eligible at that point.
I mean, maybe a 3-way trade makes sense in that scenario where you can give it to a team that's, I mean, it's unlikely, but I mean, the Niners are the last team that needs picks for next year,
What would you want in an ideal world, since we're, who knows what's out there? What would you in an ideal world want for Brandon Aiyuk in this situation where the 49ers are a Super Bowl contender? It's like, even though New England has a bad team, picks are picks. We just discussed it. They're not going to, you can't realize those picks most likely between now and next year. So that doesn't help you. So it's really more about players. And we don't see a lot of trades involving player for player. So I understand why people are always like, well, it's not a bad trade idea, but you just don't see a lot of trades like that in the NFL. But this is going to be most likely one of those trades that you don't see a lot of in the NFL, right?
Well, I mean, honestly, the trade that made the most sense to me, weirdly enough, was the Devontae Adams trade. Just because one, Brandon Aiyuk has familiarity with Antonio Pierce, and Devontae Adams wants to get out of there because he doesn't like the quarterback play. Now, Brandon Aiyuk could say the same thing, and I don't like the quarterback play there either. But he had some connection there. I don't know. Maybe
his sister guaranteed that he would be a Raider 48 hours after the Super Bowl, didn't she?
Yeah, like less than
Something
that. It was
like
like directly after. It was like really weird.
I wouldn't mind Michael Mayer and Devontae Adams. To me, that would be fair. Why do I think that's fair? I think it's fair because Devontae Adams is 32 and Brandon Aiyuk is 26, and an NFL prime is probably no more than 6 or 7 years, and he's 5 years older. So you're giving away a lot of prime. So I would say, Devontae, even though he might be better than Aiyuk, because he's 5 years older, is not as good as Aiyuk, and that's why you'd need to throw in Mayer. And Mayer, I even throw them Latou back to give them another tight end. I just think Mayer has got a nice career ahead of him, and now he's sitting behind Bowers. I think Mayer's a really good player.
I think the Raiders can make the argument that Devontae is as good or better just because of his pedigree.
Yeah, but he's 5 years older, and there's only 7 years of a prime. So it's just like anything else. It's like trading a guy who's a free agent for a guy who you own for the next 5 years. I mean, it's like 5 years of team control. There's real value in that.
There wasn't necessarily confirmation that he'd be signing a new deal with the Raiders, because I think it was a trade where it's like Devontae has an out on his contract next season. Aiyuk has a 1 year left type of situation, a 1-for-1 trade type of thing. Anyways, that's besides the point. That seems like that trade's pretty much gone. It never really was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, we got this one too. I don't think we've gotten to this one. Wait a second. Here it is. Lucian LaChance, the fourth. Would you trade BA to Cleveland for Jack Conklin and picks? No. Another beat up old tackle. He's not old, but he's not young. And I'd rather have Dawan Jones. I'd rather have the gigantic Ohio State kid. Yeah, absolutely. Dawan Jones is going to be a right tackle in the NFL for the next decade. What is he, 6'8", 360?
I don't know. Did he even play that much last year?
Yeah, I thought he did. I mean, he still's got some development, but I mean,
he didn't start.
He looked pretty good to me. I'd take him. I mean, I'm a JOK guy. So I would want Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah because I just think he's that awesome of a player, and I want an awesome player. I'm trading an awesome player. I want an awesome player in return. But I understand that they would probably be a DB or a D end. I mean, this is the thing. Do the Niners need a receiver coming back? Not really. What they really need, where is this team weak? I watch them every day in practice. Let's just quickly go through the depth chart. They're deep at quarterback, especially if you like Tanner Mordecai, and I do. And it sounds like Brock Purdy does too, by the way.
But not Brian Griese.
Well, Brian Griese doesn't want to put him into the discussion, but you know what? Watch. Dobbs and Allen are going to leave a lot to be desired.
Purdy liked him.
Purdy likes him because Purdy knows.
Say about him.
What's that? What's that?
I said Purdy had some good things. Purdy had some good things to say about him.
Yeah, he did. I thought you were going to play him there.
His agency, Mordecai's agency actually reposted our reel on Instagram.
Did they really?
Look at that. And his agent. Yeah.
We're popular. Let's get him on the show.
Let's try.
I think Mordecai's real. Okay, so but let's just do this quickly. Running back, loaded, stacked. They just signed Matt Breida. Now they're even more stacked. Receiver, stacked. There's like 5 good players they're going to cut. Even tight end, which looks super, super thin. The way Mason Pline looks and Braden Willis, and even that position doesn't. That's the thinnest position though on offense is tight end.
But look at it's hard to say it's the thinnest. I mean, they have I'm looking at the depth chart. They have 6 guys.
Well, I'm just saying, are any of them any
They drafted
good?
2 tight ends last year, and Mason Pline, their undrafted free agent. Brian Fleury today called the best undrafted player he's ever worked with, and they
I saw
signed
that.
Logan Thomas, and they signed
Yeah.
Eric Staubert, and they
Yeah.
have Jake Tongs. I mean, I it's hard to
Yeah,
say
so
that's
maybe
the
they.
thing.
Well, it's okay, but I mean, is there a number? Who's the number 2 tight end? I think
I
it's
would say
Mason Pline.
Logan Tom.
No, I think it's Mason Pline.
Bro, I don't know about that.
I've been at practice.
That's a
I've
stretch.
been watching it.
No, I know.
I've been watching this guy. This guy's 6'8". He's got great hands. He's smart. He's this. Believe me. I mean, I don't know a lot, but I do know football talent. George Kittle's the best tight end they got. Pline looks like the second best tight end they got. I mean, he really does.
Okay, but he's also super raw. I think.
Yeah, he's raw.
He's super raw. I mean, like we're talking about a guy that wasn't even playing football like 3 years ago.
He's sushi. Yeah, so he's very raw. He's quite raw.
I like his chances to not.
But you're also talking about a guy with 10-inch hands.
I like his chances.
Mechanical engineering major.
I think
he's
he
made
could get
nothing but
cut
great
and
plays
make
in
the practice squad. I think he'd get cut and make the practice squad. I don't think so.
Well, I think he could too, unless he lights it up in the preseason. And then there's these things called pro personnel directors. And if you're good, you know who played well in the preseason. And when you see a 6'8" guy that has this guy's kind of talent, you take notice. Niners have not produced a big-bodied tight end like this guy in a long time. This is a good-looking tight end. Seriously, Mason Pline's real. He is absolutely real. Flav says, I agree with the Kev, but instead of trying to get the Steelers to up the offer, I think it's for BA to decline the trade. And then the 49ers can say, well, we tried. Now you can play on your 5th year. You can sit out.
I think you already read that one.
Did I? No. Did I? No. That's Flav doubling up. We got this one from Greg Argisi. Idiot 49ers will never win. Rating the number 1 wide receiver. What the fuck? Question mark. Good Greg's one. Fired up. Kev, you got anything for Greg? Anything you can say to him? Make him feel better?
Ricky Pearsall looks pretty nice.
Yo Stricken re-signed Jennings, drafted Ricky and Cowing. It's clear.
That's the truth. That was the shit that was staring at everyone's face this entire fucking offseason, and no one said shit about. I mean, they said it during the draft, but still, I mean, it's like you're looking straight at the 49ers have just signed Juwan Jennings. Interesting. That seems like a guy that would totally walk in the situation, a la Kendrick Bourne in 2021 or 2019, whatever he walked. And then it's like, oh, the Niners draft Ricky Pearsall with the first pick in the NFL draft. I wonder why they would do that if they have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Aiyuk, and just signed Juwan Jennings. Then they draft Jacob Cowing in the 4th round. Well, they had already signed Trent Taylor. I mean, it's just like, it's staring at you in the face. Like something's going down, right?
I mean, I don't know, but the typical, rule of thumb is if you're going to make a trade, you establish a surplus and trade off your surplus. And that's apparently what they're doing at wide receiver, establishing a surplus and trading off the surplus. Greg Argisi says it took long to get Aiyuk and Deebo. Now trade Brandon Aiyuk. I know. Seriously, do we have to go through the Niners draft history? Can you call up the Niner draft history, Kev?
Yep.
Let's count how many receivers these guys, different regimes, of course. It's not Lynch and Shanahan, but we'll just hold all Niner regimes to the same, like they're all one. Let's name every receiver drafted between T.O. and Ricky Pearsall. It's bad. It's bleak. All right, can you go down? You got to click on the.
What am I looking at?
Well, you want to go back to like 98.
Is my screen moving for everyone else? It's like freaking out for me.
Yeah, it's
like,
moving.
Yeah, I'm not moving it. It's like freaking out. When am I going back? 1993?
98.
Oh, I'm back to 72. Let's go.
Just go look for T.O. I think it was 98. I thought he was 98.
Oh, 98?
Maybe it was later.
No, Terrell Owens, 96.
96. Okay.
Same year they drafted this guy. I can't even pronounce that name.
Can you make it bigger?
My screen is freaking out right now. I don't know why. It's moving a ton. Let me pull up a different site. This site's freaking out. But it was like an I name.
It's a ton of receivers. It's a ton. Just trust me. There's Bruce Ellington. I mean, we could go right on down the list. DeAndre Smelter. I mean, then there's endless donkey list of receivers between T.O. and the last and Ricky Pearsall. So it's like when you do get a receiver that can play, God, man, you don't want to give them away. That's the thing. I mean, it's like it would be one thing if here's the thing. It would be one thing if the Niners had just won the last 2 Super Bowls. They've won the last 2 Super Bowls, then you can be like, you know what? Cost a lot to maintain the team, and I just can't afford this guy. And oh well, got 2 rings out of it, and so be it.
These are the wide receivers drafted between Terrell Owens and Deebo Samuel. Ryan Thilwell.
Here, make it bigger. Can you make it bigger?
Yeah. You see that?
Ryan Thelwell. Never heard of that. Okay, so Ty Street, Cedric Wilson, Brandon Lloyd, Arnez Battle, Rashawn Woods, who I thought was going to be great, Derek Hamilton, Rasheed Marshall, Marcus Maxwell, Brandon Williams, Jason Hill went to Sacred Heart High School in San Francisco, Michael Crabtree, Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams fumbled 3 times in the NFC Championship game, cost the Niners a trip to the Super Bowl. Ronald Johnson, A.J. Jenkins, Quentin Patton, Bruce Ellington, Aaron Burbridge, Trent Taylor, Dante Pettis, Richie James. I mean, that's a ridiculous list, man. That is a ridiculous list.
And that doesn't include Jalen Hurd and
right. I mean, it's like you can't pick wide receivers and your organization. Your organization has the 2 of the 3 best wide receivers that ever played, and yet you can't pick wide receivers. So frustrating. And now you have one of the best young receivers in the game, and you're about ready to hand him away for Kendrick Bourne because he knows your system. And Amari Cooper's older. I like Amari Cooper. He's got great ball skills, but there's going to be a lot of people, and this is going to drive me bananas. If they make this trade, Amari Cooper for, Aiyuk to Cleveland, Amari Cooper, 2nd-round pick, whatever. There's going to be people who are going to sit there and try to spin this tomorrow that this is good for the Niners because Amari Cooper and Aiyuk are really comparable, and it doesn't matter that Amari Cooper's 30 and Aiyuk's 26 because the Niners weren't going long-term with Aiyuk, and so the fact that they're going short-term with Amari Cooper is fine. And it's like, I just hate that kind of talk. I hate the kind of talk of like, it's smart. It's kind of like the Warrior fans who were telling you it was smart to trade Jordan Poole for Chris Paul. You don't get it. Jordan Poole's this and that and this. Yeah. At the end of the day, one guy's 23 and can score 20 a game, and the other guy's 38. And how's that looking a year later?
I don't know. It was a massive salary dump, but that's a different question.
I know, but I mean, and who signed that contract? You did. You know what I mean? Not you, but they did. I'm not mad at you, Kev. I'm not holding you accountable for the Poole contract. Ray Coward says, new member. All right. Always a little clap for the new members. There we go. Thank you, Ray. Thanks for being a new member. Tell him what he's won. Frank Tom Ocean, a member for 5 months. All right, a little clap there. He says, what is your theory on why they don't invest in the O-line, especially if we're going to pay Brock $60 million? Congrats, Kev, on graduation. Go Niners. Look at that.
Thanks, man.
Kev, for everybody, just graduated from Cal Poly. So he's done it. He did it. And then he bummed around Europe for a month. Now he's back helping the channel. Well, I won't go to any theories, Frank, other than what they've said, which is, they're a believer that the guys who touch the ball and the quarterback, the guys who rush the quarterback, the guys who affect the opposing quarterback, the receivers who catch balls from the quarterback. They look at those things ahead of the offensive line. I'm not saying that they don't believe in the offensive line, but I think maybe Mike Shanahan won with some offensive linemen that weren't great. I mean, definitely Kyle was privy to Bob McKittrick and all the success he had with the 49ers. Bob McKittrick, I mean, all those guys, Jesse Sapolu, 11th round. Only Harris Barton was a first-round pick. The rest of those guys were late-round picks or undrafted guys or late-round guys. I mean, the Niners for years and years and years and years invested very little as far as draft capital and offensive line play and got a ton out of it because of McKittrick. So that's their theory. Their theory is that you can only get really good offensive linemen at the top half of the first round, that they haven't been in the top half of the first round, so they haven't been there to get those good linemen. And then they really believe that there's guys that are like game breakers who touch the football that are still on the board in rounds 2, 3, and 4. And so that's where they're looking. And they went, they're looking at offensive line late to try to find a guy with some traits. I will say this: Pooney looks good. Kingston looks good. Drake Nugent is short, but he looks pretty good. They got 3 young linemen in camp right now that all look decent. So that's good. Killa the Juice Man. What would you pay Aiyuk if you're the 49ers? See, I would pay him $29 million. One, it's a compromise. He's probably worth 28, but there's enough things dragging down his stats. And I understand why he believes he's a $30 million receiver. I tend to agree with Brandon, to be completely honest. If you said, what is he, a $30 million receiver or is he a $28 million receiver? I understand why the Niners want to pay him 28. I understand why he thinks he's worth 30. But let's talk about this for a second. Elements in the Niner offense that are a drag on Brandon Aiyuk. He's on a team that passes the ball 32nd most in the NFL. So in other words, they pass least than any ever team in football. That's one. 2, they play the 28th fastest pace in the league. So in other words, only 4 teams play a slower pace than the 49ers. That's a drag on his stats. They run the ball a ton. They have a slow pace, and then they've got 5 eligibles that are as good as any 5 eligibles of any team in the league. He plays on a team with Debo and Kittle and CMC and all these other awesome weapons. All of these things put a drag on his stats, but it doesn't take away who he is as a player. It just drags down his numbers. So I'm a believer that Brandon Aiyuk, if we played this game better than his numbers, worse than his numbers, I would say Brandon Aiyuk is undoubtedly better than his numbers. And so I have no problem paying him a little bit more. I'd like him to take $1 million discount, so for the good of the team, since he's on a great freaking team that can win a championship and he's surrounded by great players. And I think there's something to be said for that. So I'd love it if he took 29 instead of 30 to account for the team that he's on. But it doesn't sound like he's in the mindset to give the Niners a discount, only the Steelers. Which, I got to be honest, that kind of pisses me off, actually. And I think that should piss Niner fans off. Why do the Steelers get a hometown discount? They didn't draft you. They didn't develop you. They didn't go through your rough days and your learning patches and they didn't do any of that. But they get the hometown discount and the Niners don't. That one bothers me. Roberto Davis.
I don't think that hometown discount was necessarily hometown discount in relation to the 49ers, but like in relation to the other teams, maybe. Like it's the offer would still be higher than the Niners, but it wouldn't need to be as high as the Patriots, right? Kind of a thing. So
Roberto Davis says, "You're lazy, Larry. Lazy but successful." Thank you. We're hustling this year. We're hustling. We got a lot on the line. Lawless Light says, "Is BA worth $30 million in a win now season?" I just told you I think he's worth 29. 29's not 30. But if you're let's just say, hey, it's like 2 people arguing. It's like a couple. You got to side with one or the other. I'd side with Aiyuk in this one. I know other people wouldn't. but I would, for the reasons I just gave you. I think there's real things that have nothing to do with him that have dragged down his numbers. He doesn't hold court at his locker. He's not a diva. He's a badass run blocker. He is a team first guy. He's tough. He's what I want in a football player. He shows up and he plays. So if I got a side, Niners or Aiyuk, I'm a Niner fan, and I'll be a Niner fan after Ayuk's gone, but I'd rather pay him. I'd rather pay him and not pay some of these other guys. I think he's that unique. I think he's that dynamic. Flav drops this one. He says, I don't get it, though. If he denies a trade, then he didn't want $26 million, asked to be traded, then denied the trade, then he's just going to sit the year out. Good luck getting paid again if he does that. I mean, I think Mayoko said it best, Kev, right? When he said that maybe Brandon Aiyuk didn't really think things all the way through, and he may have requested a trade that he doesn't really at his core want.
I think
that was Mayoko's take.
I think that's 1,000% true. I'll pull up the tweet right now.
Yeah, if you have it. But yeah, I mean, so that, let's say, I mean, it's just, we're beating our head against the wall at this point, but I think he makes a very good point. Roberto Dave says, Krug, what do you think about Breida? Does he have anything left? Any what left? What does it say?
Does he have any heist left?
Juice.
That's a good call. I wouldn't have thought juice there. I wouldn't have assumed juice off of HICE. That's a good one. I think you're right.
I think I'm right there because he's missing a U and a J. But
can I buy a vowel?
How does this affect Mason? First of all, Mason looks amazing. It just makes this a deeper team. I will say this. I am a big fan of stacking your backfield with lots and lots of runners. To me, the dumbest team in the NFL right now. You said, give me the dumbest team right now, the most poorly run football team in the NFL. No doubt in my mind. It's the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. Look at the Dallas Cowboys have at running back. Zeke Elliott's ancient. It's like riding around with a car with 175,000 miles on him. He's 29. That's the oldest 29 you're ever going to see. Seriously, 29.
Zeke Elliott is the oldest 29-year-old in the entire United States of America. That guy has miles on miles.
Oh, my God. 29 has never sounded so old.
I saw a video of him like hobbling, and it's like, that looks like my old man when he gets off the couch too quick or something.
Yeah. I mean, so you got Zeke Elliott, you got Rico Dowdell. Sorry, not impressed. They've been talking up Royce Freeman, who's like on his fifth stop. They have Deuce Vaughn, who's, you could put him on De La Salle's team and nobody would think twice. He's so small.
Yes.
I mean, he's just tiny. Malik
like
Davis, Nathaniel Pete, who's former Stanford player.
But if Deuce Vaughn was on De La Salle, he would kick ass. I mean, undoubtedly he would kick ass if he was on De La Salle. I mean, he was kicking ass at Kansas.
K-State.
Yeah, K-State.
K-State. Don't forget Manhattan, Kansas, baby. Deuce Vaughn playing with the Dolphins quarterback. Who's like the backup to Tua again? Who played at K-State? I forget.
Adrian something or no?
No. Who's the Dolphin quarterback who played at ASC? Who played for? Who backs up Tua right now? His name is Skylar Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Skylar Thompson. But Dallas, I mean, look at Dallas. You've got, Dak Prescott. You got all kinds of talent on defense. You want to win the Super Bowl. You had Emmitt Smith. You had Tony Dorsett. You had backs. Every good Dallas team in the history of football has had backs. You got old Zeke Elliott, Rico Dowdell, Royce Freeman on his fifth team, tiny Deuce Vaughn, and just guys just standing around. I mean, it's unbelievable. You when you run out of running backs, it's like game over. The Niners look at the Niners right now. JP Mason would start for Dallas. Elijah Mitchell would start for Dallas. Obviously, CMC would start for Dallas. I personally think Cody Schrader might start for Dallas. I mean, the Niners are stacked at running back. They got a lot of good running backs. Really good running back room. We talked to Bobby T today.
Just FY, this is the Mayoko tweet. I pulled it up. It says, quote, I think Brandon is having a difficult time figuring out exactly what he wants. I think he requested the trade without really wanting it to go through. He just wanted to increase the pressure on the 49ers.
Great. But guess what? You're not going to be able to back out of it. It seems like, well, maybe he will. Maybe, is it how crazy would it be if Brandon Aiyuk, 11th hour, backs out, backs down, comes back and plays with the Niners? To me, that's probably as viable as any option.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just
crazy.
If you just look at the way that
I think they want to move him because of the money, but
I mean, this was ridiculous.
He's willing to take less.
This has been ridiculous. Like, just look
at poorly handled.
Yeah,
I agree with
this entire situation. We're talking about an agent who's calling out people on Twitter and then requesting a trade a few months later. Now we're talking about a guy who's requesting a trade and now saying, "Oh, I don't really know if I want to get traded to that guy." Dude, I mean, come on. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
just go already. Go already.
This whole situation has been handled like just a complete shitstorm. It's just been a tire fire. It's been crazy. It's been crazy.
It's been bad.
It's not been good.
I'll say this. If I could make a deal, I think I'd send him to Pittsburgh. And I think I would want back the kid, the offensive lineman Daniels, who I think fills a hole for the Niners. He can play center. He can play right guard. He's only 26. He could be a Niner for 10 years. Played at Iowa. Good football player. Well coached. James Daniels and Peyton Wilson for Aiyuk. Give me a fast young linebacker with a lot of talent that I might be able to plug. Because I'll tell you right now, there's a couple things that bother me about 49ers watching them right now. Drake Jackson is not there, and they're down in defensive end. They need one more defensive end. That's one. Two, Devondre Campbell is not Dre Greenlaw, and that's going to be a problem. That's a real problem. And so that's why I want Peyton Wilson, because I want another option there. I don't like what I'm seeing out of Devondre Campbell. He's not Dre Greenlaw. So that's a major concern. The secondary is a real bright spot, and there's all kinds of depth and talent and promise. Fred Warner's still Fred Warner, but and some of the guys up front look pretty damn good, but little thin edge rush wise, and Devondre Campbell is not Dre Greenlaw. So that would be a concern for me, because I don't like the idea they got to lean on Devondre Campbell. So I'd want,
when you ask Sorensen, or someone, not you, someone asked Sorensen, who's in the nickel, when you guys go in nickel, who will be the number 2? Is it, and he's like, oh, it's gonna be Campbell. So they've already committed the contract, and they've already committed to Campbell being the number 2 guy. Yeah. So that doesn't make you feel that
just
good.
Because you're the Campbell, just because it's Campbell early doesn't mean it'll be Campbell late. I mean, if you don't play well, you don't play.
I mean, yeah. I mean, let's look at Isaiah Oliver last year. Last year, Isaiah Oliver was like he can do no wrong until the regular season came around. He got burned. And then that wasn't the case anymore. Also, I just want to note, Mark Willard tweeted this out saying that he listened to the Mayoko podcast that just dropped tonight with Jennifer Lee Chan, and said that they both, even though they had that initial report, they both softly predicted that Aiyuk will stay with the 49ers. So that's their prediction.
Softly predicted.
Yeah, that's Willard. That's Willard's words.
Softly.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Softly.
We read that one.
We read that one. We have this one. Aiyuk is flip-flopping now. I bet the Steelers offering only slightly more than the Niners, but New England can offer him JJ money, but they are terrible. PDX 49er. Mark Graves in the house, member for 25 months. Hit the likes, 1,275 watching and only 338 likes. What's up, Kev? What's up, Larry? That's right. Hit like and subscribe. If you hit like, just more people in the algorithm find the stream. And if you hit subscribe and you hit that notification bell anytime we go live, you'll get that notification we're going live, and you don't have to miss any of the action. And also, we've had an awful lot of merchandise bought this month on our website. Kev, tell people how, if they want to support the channel, they can purchase merchandise.
Yeah, go to thekrugshow.com. There's a plethora of different merchandise options you can get if you want to help support the show. We don't make a ton of money off of it. It's more just for you guys to have something so that you can wear the merch out. These original edition shirts have sold out, but there is like a replica version of this because this is the old logo. There's a new logo. Road to 50K. I saw that in the comments. Road to 50K. Buy some merch, support the show, and get a bet at Mancini's using Krug 10 to get 10% off.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Where can we put up the
I'll pull it up. I got it.
There we go. That's right. Our brand new sponsor, Mancini's Sleep World. Guys, if you want to help the channel, go get a mattress from Mancini's and tell them that Krug sent you. Use that code Krug10. All you got to do is go to sleepworld.com and use the code Krug10, and you'll get 10% off your mattress. And guys, I can't tell you,
online, in-store or online.
Mancini Sleep World, brand new sponsor. We want to show some love for Mancini's, and they are keeping track. So please go buy a bed from Mancini's. Use that code Krug10, and you'll get 10% off. And that's going to be, I would say, significant. We're talking about probably saving $200-$300, maybe more. So there you go. Go to sleepworld.com and use the code Krug10, and you can get 10% off your brand new mattress and go out there and get a great night's sleep, courtesy of the Krug Show. 120 night guarantee, free next day delivery. They have a range of brands and price points, and they are sleep experts. So go in there to Mancini's, tell them that Larry Krueger sent you, and make sure you use that code Krug10 at checkout at sleepworld.com to get 10% off your brand new mattress, courtesy of the Krug Show. All right, a couple more.
Yeah, so we got some super chats we still got to get through, I think.
Yeah, we got to get through a few of these here. Batman 29. I like BA over Debo, but Debo is teacher's pet.
Kind of is. I mean, he's earned the respect of Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle loves Debo.
He loves him. And
teacher's pet. Let's just say this, guys. Something tells me that Batman 29 wouldn't, if he was in the Niner locker room, go up to Debo and be like, "Hey, Debo, I kind of like BA over you, but you're Kyle's pet." I'd love to see that. I'd love to see.
I mean, there's a lot of things you would.
Let's see what Debo's reaction would be to that.
Yeah, Debo's a little finicky, but no,
Debo would turn on you.
No, but seriously, Debo. I mean, I saw someone make this point. I think it was Mike Silver made the point. Even though he made it to the extent I wouldn't go to, Debo has come in this season and kind of been like, "I'm a professional. I'm taking this seriously. I'm taking my body seriously. This is a business, not a game." And he's come in leaned out
shape.
and he looks serious. He doesn't look like he's pouting. When he did the presser, he was giggly and happy. Like, he's never really like that. So I think he has a whole new motto, a whole new mantra.
Yeah, he's in a good mental space right now.
Yeah, I think
he absolutely is. He looks like he's primed for a big year.
I think he is.
Flavs is graduating in a trip to Europe. Now can you get to work and be depressed for the rest of your life like the rest of us? Congrats, Kev.
Is that how that works?
Yeah. Oh, you're back from college? Get a job, put on 40 pounds, have a heart attack, and die.
Well, currently my job is to make content for all of you guys to watch. So enjoy me.
Joseph Ernberg. Hi, Krug. This is my last $2 in my account. Oh, well, thank you for keeping a penny. It's only
when you get your next $2, let us know.
Yeah. Hey, Joseph, Don't come back until you got 2 more bucks. Could you imagine? You're only allowed. We could do that. I think there are ways where you could have just the supers allowed in the chat. But I can't do that.
I think there's a way. I don't know if that's true, but I know that there's a way to only have members chatting, like a member only chat where no one can chat except for members. I think Pat McAfee does that.
It's called the Olympic Club. Yes, you can't chat with us unless you're a member. Mm-hmm. Yes, I buy my friends. Kevin F says, $2. Thanks for humoring us all night. Or all tonight. Humoring us all tonight. Thank you, Kev. Bill Carey says, thanks for your inside info. Psst, psst. Word has it, Chris Conley is going to be the 6th receiver. Inside dope. There you go. Bill, appreciate you. Don't be a beta. Don't be a beta. What's a beta, Kev?
Beta would be like someone who,
alpha.
Wait,
that's not an alpha.
Who said that? That's not. Oh, don't be a beta. Don't be a beta means like, don't be a pussy, basically. Like, don't be weak. I don't know.
Don't be weak, says $1.99. What Lynch to do? BA team been foolish. What do you think of that? It's almost like a Joe Piscopo. Tonight, sports, Mets, victory, losing, Yankees. You know, you're Joe Piscopo on SNL is great. Got to go way back, way back. We got this one from Disturbed Warrior 81. Hi guys, what do you think about Dawan Jones and a 2? Well, you get that monster tackle who's going to be your right tackle for the next decade. I like Dawan Jones, man. Oh my God, Dawan Jones. They say, it's a $5 cab ride to get around this guy. It's like a $25 cab ride to get around that guy. It's huge. About 370. I actually thought he looked good last year. His feet look good. I can't believe the Niners drafted Kamla 2 over Dawan Jones. You needed a tackle. You're staring at a 6'8" monster who played for the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten, and you decided to go with Kamla 2, a tight end who is just kind of athletic, and he's not really much of a tight end. It just makes no sense.
I've heard he looks better this season, thoe.
He has looked better. He has looked better.
Also, I want to add, I saw this from Jared Kane, who's a Pittsburgh Steeler guy who's been tweeting out a lot today. He tweeted out Mason McCormick was drafted for Brandon Aiyuk. And I know that's your guy. So
what do you mean for Brandon Aiyuk?
Basically saying that in a trade, Mason McCormick and
that's who I'd want if I were the Niners.
I know. That's your guy.
I love Mason McCormick. I'm all over Mason McCormick.
Yeah. South Dakota State
Jackrabbits. I liked his buddy there on the other on the tackle spot, Garrett Greenfield, and the running back who went to the Jets, Isaiah Davis. Yeah, no, Garrett. I mean, Mason McCormick went to the combine and showed the scouts that forget your FCS, man. I'm a big time player. Guy had lower body explosiveness, and he's a old school throwback. If I could get Mason McCormick, Mason McCormick's going to play in the NFL as a starting guard for a decade. And is that worth Brandon Aiyuk? I don't know, but he's definitely going to be in the NFL for a decade. Joey Harrell says, great show as always, guys. Kept me up till almost 2 a.m. Going to be a rough day tomorrow at work.
Go to bed.
Go to bed. That's my nephew. Hope he's doing well. All right. Kev, you got a couple more points you need to make before we bolt for the door. We've been going for almost an hour and a half, about 90 minutes. Over 4,000 people in the room. Lots of people today. We didn't even mention that the Niners signed Lewis Kidd, an offensive lineman, today to a 1-year deal, and they placed Pat Eflin on the Elflein, I should say, on the injured reserve list. He had just signed, but he hurt his calf in practice, so that's what that move was about. And then Matt Breida's a 49er as well. Anything else, Kev, that you wanted to get into? And I didn't realize Breida was signed probably because they're thinking Elijah Mitchell's dinged up again. Guerrero has got the hamstring. Yeah, well,
unbelievable.
So get this, Elijah Mitchell was not at Sunday's practice. So there's some people suggesting that maybe he's had some kind of an injury setback. And he has just been glass. If he's hurt again, and then Guerendo's injury, Bobby T was like, hoping that Guerrero doesn't get discouraged. And Bobby T told Guerrero, hey, it's just a setback. Your career is not going down the tubes, relax. It's a bad break, a hamstring pull, but it's just a temporary setback. And he made that point to us today that when he
the
spoke
Niners
to
they're gonna have to make a decision, because if they put him on the IR, that's the season-ending IR, right? So that he would be out for the entire season, right?
I believe so.
If they want to stash him on the IR right now, so they'd have to either stash him on the roster and then immediately put him on the IR to avoid like what happened to Cam Latu last season. So that means that they'd have to make a cut. They'd have to make room in that running back room if they want to keep Guerrero, essentially. So that's why they may have to cut some veterans, or just kind of pray that some of these guys don't get picked up in waivers. It's going to be tough. Like a lot of those guys, like I don't know if Tanner Mordecai is going to make the roster. I don't know if Mason Pline's going to make the roster, despite how well they play, because of the roster constraints. So I guess we'll see.
By the way, Mike Silver has a tweet that scares the hell out of me. I think you might have already read it.
I think I did.
In a vacuum, I feel like Kyle Shanahan would rather have Kendrick Bourne in the Pats 2 than Amari Cooper in the Browns 2. Oh, my God. I understand that he knows that the Pats are worse than the Browns. But Amari Cooper is quite a bit better than Kendrick Bourne. But I mean, I don't like either, really, to be honest, because Amari Cooper is a free agent at the end of the year. I'd rather take Demario Douglas and have a young receiver I can have for the next few years. I'd rather have Jerry Jeudy. I'd rather have Elijah Moore. Isn't Elijah Moore there in Cleveland?
In Cleveland, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have Elijah Moore. He runs good routes. I mean, do you have what? I know Cleveland can't make that trade unless the Niners take back Amari Cooper. But so what? Do the Niners really want Amari Cooper? I mean, really? That would surprise me. It is interesting. The Niners gave permission to Aiyuk to negotiate potential contracts with opposing teams, and the Commanders have removed themselves from the trade talks for Aiyuk. I guess the price was too high. The Steelers effectively are no longer an option because they won't meet the Niners trade demands, at least the last edition of them. So it's down to Pats or Browns, and the Niners have agreed to trade parameters with both teams, and now it's a matter of, can Aiyuk get on the same page with them? And Mayoko's making it seem like it's Aiyuk's call. Like he either goes to the Browns, he goes to the Pats, or he comes back to the Niners, probably at their price. Is that pretty much summing it up, Kev?
I'd say so. I mean, last thing I'll add on this is, back to Tim Kawakami said, we're talking about, we knew that this trade was going to happen. We knew that there was something was going to happen. Something was in the works for a long time when they extended Juwan Jennings and when they drafted Ricky Pearsall. But regardless, for them to trade Brandon Aiyuk for 75 cents on the dollar is it is an abject failure. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. They have a receiver who's 26 years old, who just made a Pro Bowl, who they drafted, developed, and has been on the roster, has developed a rapport with your franchise quarterback that you drafted in the 7th round. You don't want to see a guy like that walk away. And I don't care what you're getting back in the most part. 99% chance they're not going to get something back that's going to be of equal value. So in the end, you can sweeten it up. You can give us a 2nd round pick. You can throw in Mason McCormick, but it's not the same thing. You're not getting Brandon Aiyuk back in this deal. So it is kind of a sour taste, left in my mouth after this one.
If it's what, Mason McCormick, a pick, I mean, what do you?
If he gets traded, it's going to be a sour
period.
Taste for the most part, I'd say even though I came out here saying, oh, I knew this. We've been saying this could happen. We're kind of taking a parade. It's not a good thing. It's not like, unless they can get something significant back, it doesn't really feel like a win. It's going to be hard to see. It's going to be interesting to see how people try to spin this. The people that like to say that everything's good, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, it's going to be hard, especially if you're talking about Kendrick Bourne. To me, you better get either a package of picks or, preferably a couple players and a couple picks. I mean, that you're talking about you're talking about an all pro receiver who's 26. He's probably going to have his best 3-year run right now. If you sell him for pennies on the dollar, you are going to get ripped, and there is not enough. You don't have enough yes men to cover your ass. There won't be enough yes men out there to cover their ass, and they'll just have to take it. And the fans will be relentless. This is what happens when you're on top. The 49ers are on top. When I say they're on top in this market, they're the iconic franchise. They are the biggest franchise with the biggest rep and the biggest fan base. Everything they do is scrutinized. Everything they do is analyzed and dissected. If you make a bad, high-profile trade of a wide receiver after months of speculation, you are going to get ripped, if not fired. I mean, there will be people that will be calling, despite the fact the Niners have been in the last 4 NFC Championship games, there will be people that will be calling for John Lynch's head if he trades him for Kendrick Bourne in a 2nd-round pick, or for Amari Cooper in a 3rd-round pick.
And we haven't even talked about what the Steelers are offering.
I mean, the Steelers, I think, are probably offering James Daniels in a 2nd-round pick. That would be my guess.
Do they need a
I'd
right
want
guard?
James. What's that?
Do they need a guard?
Who?
Yes, with Burford out.
Well, I mean, the Niners need. I mean, right now they need a left tackle too, but they need a right. They need a
that's
a right guard
that's
because
a whole different issue. Jesus.
I mean, you got Burford, you've got Feliciano, you've got Pooney. I mean, you just drafted Dominic Pooney in the 3rd round. Cosmo saying, he's like, come on, Krug, BA's a wide receiver. What does he mean by that?
I don't know.
Did I call him something else?
I don't know.
I think he's a wide. Last I checked, BA, wide receiver. Yeah. So once again, if I was trading him, if it was me and I was trading Aiyuk to the Browns, I want Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
I mean, I did just say if Aiyuk gets traded, anything we get in return is not going to be the same. In this situation, if we get Myles Garrett, I mean, that's just
Myles Garrett.
Dude, sometimes looking at these trades, like I'll read the comments and like I love all the comments. I'm not hating on anyone, whoever said this, but someone was like, "Why don't we just?" I forget who it was. It was like, "Why don't we just trade Jake Moody for a receiver?" And I'm like, "Jake Moody, like, you're gonna trade
Jake Moody's not going anywhere."
Like, it's just like, come on,
yeah, come on.
Some of these trades, and like even these other teams, where it's like, oh yeah, we should the Dolphins definitely should trade for Brandon Aiyuk. Why don't we give you our backup right tackle and our 5th string wide receiver? Is that a good trade? And everyone on the Dolphins is like, yeah, this is a great. It's like, what?
That's a good trade. Absolutely a good trade. I was watching a Steeler thing 10 days ago, and I'll get the guy's like, I'm going to give you the 3 guys that the Steelers are most likely to include in a trade for Brandon. So I'm like, oh, this should be good. What's this guy going to say? And he goes, Dan Moore Jr., their backup left tackle.
Yeah, okay. I don't know who the fuck that is.
He's their backup left tackle. Dan Moore Jr. And then he said DeMonte KZ, who's the backup to Minkah Fitzpatrick at free safety.
He's okay, right? I think I've heard that name.
Yeah. I think the last one might have been Nick Herbig, who's pretty good, but I mean,
I thought it was like oh yeah, I think it was. I thought there was Broderick Jones talk too, which is not.
No, they were Darnell Washington. People were talking
Oh.
about Darnell Washington.
Oh, wait, Broderick Jones is the tackle. Yeah, I meant. Yeah.
Darnell Washington, the backup tight end, who sits behind Freiermuth. Dan Moore, the backup tackle, who sits behind Broderick Jones. And DeMonte KZ, the backup free safety, who sits behind Minkah Fitzpatrick.
It's always these trades
For
where they don't.
an all-pro wide receiver who's freaking 26 years old.
It's always these
Come
trades.
on.
It's always these trades that it's like we don't get any worse, and you get like and we get what we want, and you get much worse. Like
Right.
Like
And
we
then I
don't
love that.
give away any starters.
Right. And then people were like, somebody was like, hey, I think they might want Mason McCormick. He's like, hey, man, we just drafted him. He's our future. It's kind of like when you're watching Hard Knocks and Joe Shane gets a call from Dan Morgan on the Brian Burns trade. And Brian Burns and Dan Morgan's trying to squeeze Shane for a 7th round pick and an extra 7th in the 11th hour. He's like, come on, Dan, what are we doing here? He's like, I need players too, Dan. I need players on my team too. You know, and then Dan's like, all right. Yeah, did the deal that they originally agreed to. I like that Hard Knocks, by the way, with the Giants. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I need to catch up on that.
Oh, it's good. It's really good.
It is.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Tomorrow, back at camp. Another day at camp. I think 10:25. Be out there for practice. Kyle's going to talk after practice or before? No, after. After. So stay tuned, folks. Another day in the days of the 49ers' lives. There you go. Like sand through the hourglass. Aiyuk still a Niner for the moment, but tomorrow could bring Kendrick Bourne and a 4th round pick. I'll absolutely lose it.
Off the ACL.
I'll absolutely lose it. Larry Krueger charged Kendrick Bourne at the presser. How dare you? All right, that's going to do it for us. Hey, have a great night, everybody. Shop our store, get some merch.
Sleep World.
Mancini's, can you put it back up there? You want to help the show? They got a Labor Day sale that begins August the 5th. They got a 120-night guarantee, free next day delivery, range of brands and price points. They are sleep experts. Go in there, use the code Krug10 and get 10% off your mattress purchase, courtesy of the Krug Show. And that's going to do it for us. For Kev, I'm Larry. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked.